Hi there, I'm Ahsan Ali Shaw, and you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook Live. Today, we are going to talk about what is karma, how karma works, and some of the misconceptions relevant to karma. And perhaps you may have come across with the word karma. Whenever anything bad happens to anyone, then people say that this is karma, he deserved it. Now the question is, what is karma? Karma is karma is a word from a Hindi Sanskrit language, and it literally means action, and it means, in other words, we can say in the contextual meaning that whenever you perform whenever you perform any actions, then it has an impact on your life and on your personality. That is the definition of karma. Now, uh, now their misconception, there's a very slight difference between the definition and the misconcepted definition of karma, and and that is, if you do good or bad things, then the good or bad things would come back to you, and it is different from the original definition. If you take any actions, then it would have impact. Now the question is how it is different. It is different, like, let's say, when I say, when you take any action, then it would have impact on your life, and it means you have a control on your life. For instance, if a person does something bad, then he regrets his or her mistakes, then he tries to rectify it and repent his mistake, then the energy of the universe would respond to his action, to his or her actions. On the other hand, when you say, uh, any good or bad actions you perform, then it would come back to you. So, in this sense, you don't have a control over your life. So you give up the power and control, and that is the misconcepted definition of karma. And there's much more, and there's perhaps you may disagree with me, and you may have some other way of discussing it, and karma and how karma works, and some of the misconceptions relevant to karma is our topic for discussion today. And to discuss this topic, my guest is Ed Konowicz, and he has joined us from Virginia, United States.
Yeah, hi
Hey, Ed.
everyone. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm gonna
So,
totally disagree with you because I disagree with how karma is discussed.
okay.
So I don't think karma is based on good or bad.
Mhm,
There's a Sanskrit or Hindu word called dharma, which is
mhm,
truth. Truth has to do with good and bad, not karma.
mhm,
You go walk in a jungle alone where there's a tiger and you could be killed. That's not truth. It's just simply the law of the tiger. And most what people see is the law of the local area. So if you go to Saudi Arabia and wear a bathing suit, you're going to be in trouble. That's not truth. That's the local law. So karma is more translated as law than as consequences. And the consequences depend on what is in control of the local area, the local deity. See, everyone's taught, oh, there's only one God. It's not true. It's a bunch of bullcrap because you go to Japan and you start messing with the police, they'll torture you in prison. In the United States, if you start condemning the military or you start criticizing Christianity, you could lose your job. Or if you start talking against neoliberalism. So the law or the consequences to the law is based on the local deity or consensus. We call that local deity culture. Culture is a cult that worships a god, and you piss off that god, you're going to be in trouble. It has
So
nothing to
karma
do with
means
dharma. It has
action.
nothing to do with
Karma
truth.
karma means action. Any action you perform, so that is karma.
Right. It's an action, but the consequences, karma has come to mean the consequences of your action. But the consequences of your action are dependent upon the local deity or consensus or law. You're in the law of the tiger or the polar bear or the shark. You're in a different concept of consequences. You can go swimming in a pool or in a lake, and it's unlikely you're going to be food for a fish. You go
Yeah,
swimming in the middle of the ocean, you're in a different culture, you're in under a different law. So the
under different
consequences,
territory.
your consequences are going to be different. No one teaches the obvious. I mean, I don't have to prove this, do I?
No.
Isn't what I just said totally apparent? So
Yeah,
people are told all this bull crap. They're told all
yeah,
this nonsense.
I think this is the misconception about karma, that people consider karma as some type of consequences, that you do any good or bad, then it will come back to you in some
Well, they
way
think
in
it's
the
based on
future.
truth. Karma
Yeah,
is not based on dharma. Dharma
yeah.
is truth. Karma is based on the local deity.
And karma is
And there's
action,
two
just
things that
any
will
action
get
you
you
perform.
instant karma or bad consequences. One is stupidity. Go drive in a stupid way, um, climb on a ladder in a stupid way, reach too far. Stupidity will get you instant karma. The second thing that will get you instant karma is disrespect. Go into a situation, disrespect the policeman, disrespect the criminal, disrespect someone in prison, and you're a prisoner. You're going to get instant consequences, negative ones. Now, positive consequences are harder to get. You can be respectful, you can be polite, but still that can be rejected. And usually positive consequences comes from us working the local deity by doing work or practice. So if I want to be a good musician and get rewarded, I have to practice. I have to create what I call the case. So karma is based on, in the West, what we call the case, defending your case. Case is like a box. Pandora's case or Pandora's box should have been translated. We work a case like people for generations were working the case that politicians were a bunch of crooks. And they had the politicians contained. Now that people no longer working the case that politicians are crooks, these crooks are running people's lives. They're telling people when they can go out of the house. They're telling people they need this medical treatment. We have dictatorship because we let the evil out of the case, which is the karma for us not working our case. And working your case could be fixing your car or having someone else fix it. It could be cleaning your bathroom. If you don't work your case, your habit, the chaos of conflicting cases will come in and cause problems. So, what we basically do is we regroup. If there's dirt in our living room, we get the dirt out and throw it in a field or a garbage dump where things can grow. We don't want weeds growing in our living room, so we get the dirt out. So, a lot of our case is how we group. So, a lot of our karma or consequences has to do with who we associate with. So, we're with a bad bunch of people. We're going to get consequences. We get in a car driven by a guy that drank too much at a bar, we're going to have consequences. And this is the thing, and I don't have to prove this. This is obvious.
Yeah.
So
And
way karma is taught is
one
to make
question.
people stupid.
Yeah.
The way
One
karma is taught,
question.
make people stupid. I'm going to explain to you reality. If you can't
Yeah.
see this, something is wrong with you. You go
So
to a
one
bar,
question.
and you go home with the drunken driver, you're going to get karma probably because you associate it with the wrong person. You go on a plane and the plane crashes, you're going to get karma because you went on the wrong plane. You join a good football team or baseball team that are winners, you're going to get good karma and win because you associated with people who knew how to practice or knew how to work their case. You were going to say something.
Yeah, my question is, So you started the definition of karma with the truth, and I started my definition with the
No,
action.
I did not. I said
Okay.
dharma, which is the truth, is totally different than karma.
So how do you define
Karma
karma?
doesn't deal with the truth.
Hmm.
It deals with karma is unjust most of the time. People get screwed for being good. No good deed goes unpunished.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Yeah.
obvious. But people, like, they believe in the Bible, they believe in these Hindu terms with no one explaining it to them. And they blind themselves to the obvious truth, which is karma is usually a group thing.
Hey,
And that's why
Amanda.
we die because, yeah, hi, Amanda. We die because we associate with the wrong group.
Yeah.
People have a hard time regrouping their home, finding friends. That's why a lover or someone close to you is good karma, because you're associating with someone who's going to practice and work the case like you do. So you're stronger because you have some harmony in your home.
So it means my original definition, the way I started it, is good. It means you any action you are performing, you are doing some karma, and it is
Right,
like
but
it.
it has to do with not good and bad. It has to
Yeah,
do with grouping.
yeah. Any action you perform is a karma.
Yes, and but it's related to grouping, not truth.
How you mean by grouping?
Well, who are you grouped with? Where are you located? If you're
Mhm.
located in Australia, you got total tyranny. Whereas if
So
you're located by yourself in some mountain somewhere and you're used to living off the land, you don't have that tyranny.
hmm,
So it depends a lot on location. And people who talk about karma don't talk about location. And normal people who aren't deluded by religion, they say if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you can get hell. That's not that is karma, but it's not based on truth. It's not based on justice. It's based being in the wrong time with the wrong people. You're on the wrong plane, you're in the wrong car with the wrong people, you can be in trouble. You're married to the wrong person, your work is the wrong group of people, then you're going to be
you
in trouble. If you're married to the right person or your lover is in harmony and good character with you, if you're working at a place where people are dedicated and honest, yes, you're going to get good consequences.
yeah, and if you are friends with wrong people, then you are gonna be in trouble. uh, those friends, they are gonna do something wrong and they will put blame on you. So
Right.
it's an action. But I think the important thing about misconception about karma is people generalize things, and as you say, grouping, and what is your location is in different locations there are different laws. You can if you say that you don't believe in God in Saudi Arabia, they will kill you. If you say you more believe in God in the US, then they'll put you in the mental institution. So the grouping is you don't have to generalize things. Believe there are different laws in different countries in different places of this planet, and you just have to follow those laws. Don't
Yeah,
be at the
and
wrong
you
place.
can affect your karma.
Yeah.
The consequences is based
Mm,
on how you group with people
mm,
and how you work your case. Your case is your justification, how you argue what is right and what is wrong. Now, if you're going to let the government determine what is right and wrong, you're going to get a lot of bad karma, which is
mm.
dharma, truth, is based on the individual. Karma is more based on the group. So
Yeah.
someone in your group could do something wrong, and guess who suffers? You.
You.
President Biden can make a wrongful decision about Afghanistan. Does he suffer? No.
No.
The people who are in his group who obey him, they're the ones that are going to suffer. So karma is about groups, and dharma, truth, is about the individual, which is the divine is unique. When we're dealing with justice and divine, we're dealing with dharma, and we're dealing with the uniqueness of a person. And if that unique person groups with the correct people, good home or good job, they have good karma. If they associate with the wrong people, wrongful lover, wrongful friends, they're going to have consequences. In fact, the person doing wrong usually has less consequences than the people who group with them. So it's not
So,
presidents that die on the battlefield, it's the soldiers who obey them.
as we know, the whole world and the whole universe is in constant movement, and this movement of the universe. Everywhere, everything in it is changing, and this change and movement and consistent motion is creating an energy. And when I say karma is an action, when you perform any action, then you create an energy. Now it has an impact. The energy of the universe respond to your actions, and it could be good or bad, as you say, grouping different locations, different actions, and different consequences of your actions. Now, what people say that if you do good thing, then the good thing bad happens to you. If you do any bad things, then the bad things would return to you. This is the general misconception uh, uh,
Yeah, it's a
of karma.
misconception.
Yeah, it's a misconception, and it means you don't have a control over your life. You just lose a control. And for instance, as in I'll go back to again to my earlier example, that for instance, if a person does something wrong and he repents, he realizes his mistakes, then he would try to rectify it by doing something good. It means he is performing a good action right now, and the
Yeah, but that
energy
has
of the
nothing to do
universe.
with karma. Karma is based on a group. You start
Yeah.
doing good in the wrong group, you're a member of the drug gang. You say, I don't want to do this anymore. You can be killed.
Mhm. Oh,
Same
I
thing if
wasn't.
you're in the U.S. military, you're in the Middle East, and you say, I don't want to fight these people anymore. You could be killed. So don't tell me it's wrong. You decide
Yeah.
to do a good thing, you're not going to get good karma. You're probably going to get bad karma immediately because
Mhm.
it's based on what? The group.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
based on
simple.
dharma. It's not based on truth. People are
So in
taught karma is based on truth. It's not true.
there's a good karma and bad karma. If you do something good, then the good thing would
No,
happen.
there isn't good karma and good bad karma based on how you do good or evil. It's
Yes.
often the opposite. You
Yes.
do a good deed, you're going to be punished.
Yes. Because you are in a different part of the world, you are at the wrong location. If you try to, if for instance, if you are in Pakistan, you raise your voice for the women emancipation, women rights, then people are going to kill you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's acceptable in the US, but it's not acceptable in my part of the world. People don't care
Yeah,
about these
because
things.
the local deity is different. The local
Yes.
deity is the consensus of consciousness, which is how people work their case, how they justify themselves and see right and wrong. And they're given this propaganda there's one God. No, there is not one law. And karma is not based on good and bad. It's not based on dharma or truth. It's based on the group.
Karma peeps everything. Okay,
So
so how
people
would
have
you?
they have a wrong conception. People
Yeah,
repeat what they're taught. For
yes,
some reason, you put a person in a dress, a guy in a dress, put him on a fancy clothes with vestments and colors. They think this guy is holy. They think
yeah,
popes are holy, the Dalai Lama, they're clerics. You know, he put people in a pulpit and people believe him.
yeah.
Totally
I
against
think.
reality.
Yeah. I think they just follow the mass, whatever media tell them, the education system, the culture, the social setup, the parents, the friends, relatives, whatever. We are born in such an environment, and we learn everything from the environment. And if the environment tells us to do something to follow this belief, then they just follow the herd. They don't unlearn things, then try to relearn it. And what you are doing, what I am doing right now, because I used to have a completely different belief system when I was growing up in my teens. And if you compare my belief system with today's belief system, then you would see a huge contrast. And I try to unlearn all of those things, then try to relearn everything. But most of the people, they don't do that. They simply, if the herd is saying follow this belief, then they follow it. They will stick to it for the rest of their lives, and they will defend it. Even they will die defending it.
Yeah, you're unusual. I think you heard what I said. Karma is based on the group, not the individual. Dharma is based on the individual. The divine is unique. It's not one. There's not one God. There's different gods in different countries and cultures. There's not one God. And yet people will leave and not hear what I said. So I'll say it 1,000 times. Look, karma is based on the group. You're with the wrong group, you're in trouble. You're with the good group, it's going to work out for you. Though I will say this 1,000 times, they won't hear it because all they hear is what they were taught. Their memory repeats, oh, karma's good works gets good consequences, bad works get bad cons. No,
Yeah.
sorry, what
It
you were
works.
taught is the opposite. A
Yeah,
good deed will often get you punished.
yeah,
Speaking the truth will get you punished.
yeah. And it works sometimes. The energy of the universe respond to your actions, or I would say action, you say grouping. So if I say action, so just
Yeah, but there's not
if
one energy to the universe. You're
there are
still
different
moving
types.
towards this God line. There's all
Yeah,
these different flows of energy in the universe. And if you
yes,
get in the
and
right flow of energy, yes,
then
good
yeah,
things would
good.
happen. But
Yeah,
there's not
if
just
you are,
one flow of energy. There's
yeah,
tons of rivers, tons going in different directions, and different safety and ferocity. Same with energy. There's not one energy in the universe. So
yes,
people say,
and
I'm tapped into source or God. There's not
no,
one energy.
yeah, and there are
That
different
tiger
types of
is tapped
energy.
into tiger energy.
Yeah, and the thing I was talking about, the energy of the universe, and sometimes it responds to your actions, or sometimes it doesn't respond to your actions,
Right,
and it's
depending
like a
on
good
which
flow.
energy. But
Yes,
I think what the
the flow.
fundamental major thrust of the universe is to reduce waste of energy, which is harmony, which is the planets are not crashing into each other, the stars are not crashing into each other. They formed a system of rotation or orbiting so they don't crash into each other. So
Yeah,
the
but
universe tries to group things to save energy and use it for better things. And when a group fails, it will destroy the group to regroup. And that may be why we die. We're in the wrong group and we refuse to regroup.
I think dying has nothing to do with this with karma. A person gets
Well,
old
that's
and
what
he
you
dies.
think. You're in the wrong group. You're in the wrong hospital. They'll put you on a ventilator and kill you.
Yes, yeah, in that
That's
sense,
karma.
okay.
That's for being stupid. There's two things that will get you instant bad karma or consequences. First is stupidity. The second is disrespect.
Yeah,
And and that includes death. You start taking a ride from a drunken driver, you could be killed in a car crash. You start joining a military to go overseas and invade someone else's country, you could be maimed, depressed, damaged by the mandatory
exactly.
vaccines. It has to do with your grouping. Life and death has to do with your grouping. You're on the wrong plane, in the wrong group, the plane crashes, you die. Life and death has to do with grouping. It's obvious if you look at it. But people don't look at the obvious. They repeat what they heard in culture, which is a cult of different deities or local gods. And that's what people do. They repeat what they were taught.
So how do you summarize it?
Summarize it real easy. Karma isn't truth. There's not one karma, there's different laws and different consensus or cultures in different places. And if you go against the major group, you're either going to be really smart or there's going to be negative consequences for being truthful or for being loving. Where Dharma is the truth, Dharma is based on individuals
Mhm.
and their comprehension and ability to work the case, which is karma is related to how well we argue for ourselves, how well we stop other people's arguments, their slander, their ability to frame us. So, karma, which is consequences to our actions, is based a
And
lot on how well we can argue our case. And that's why we're above animals. We're not animals because we can argue our case, we can justify ourselves. So, we're sort of magical. An animal like a dog or cat cannot justify themselves. They die in 10 or 20 years. We can justify ourselves, and the people who can justify themselves live a long time. Nothing to do with good or bad. It has to do with
the-
justification, how you argue your case.
there are four types of karma, by the way.
Well, you were taught 4 times the karma.
There
You're
could
just
there could
repeating
be
what
more.
you taught.
There could be more types of karma. It depends upon uh, the grouping or energy or actions or whatever. So karma, uh, I would say action. And you would say uh, grouping. There are different types of karma. It could be four, it could be 10, 20, or different types of karma. It depends upon your group or your location where
Well,
you
let me
are.
answer Jackie.
Yeah.
Grouping or your relationships are a large part of karma, not the total part. They're a
Okay.
major factor. So let me repeat that. Your association with others, your home, your group, your job are a major influence of the consequences you experience. So,
Yep.
relationship and grouping is a major factor in the consequences that happen to your life.
So, karma was our topic for discussion today, and we're going to discuss some other topic next week. And if you have any question, just leave it in the comment box below. Ed will answer it to you, or I'll get back
Well,
to you as soon
if you
as I
got
can.
questions you want me to address, go to my Facebook page,
Yeah.
which is
Comment.
Edward Konowicz. Do a
Yes.
search on
Yes.
Konowitz, Edward Konowitz, and then I have posted a link to this and make your statements or comments here. And the terrible thing is most people are just going to regress to what they were taught about karma. They're not going to listen
Yeah.
to reason.
There are so many misconceptions about karma. They believe karma is some type of uh, supernatural type of energy that is just out of control. You do something wrong, oh, karma is gonna get me. No, it doesn't work like that. It's just an action or grouping, or sometime it works, sometime it doesn't.
It's the
And
consequences.
mm,
It's not the action.
yeah,
It's the action and the consequences to that
action and the
action,
consequences.
given the local consensus, given the local culture or the local consciousness,
Yes,
which changes where you're located. Therefore, if you're at the wrong place at the
at
wrong
the wrong
time,
time.
you can be in trouble, no matter how
Yeah,
good you are.
it doesn't have to do with karma. Okay, and just leave it in the comment box below. I'll answer it to you. I would get back to you at if you have any question directly to Ed, then leave it at Ed's profile, Edward Konowicz, and I'll see you next week. Have a good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. Watch for it.
Okay,
Okay, okay,
good.
Jackie. Ta-da. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, other people. Thank you for joining us.